Hello? 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 I want to sing a song to Larry Hester, who's here. Hello? Earth, Wind and Fire and the Commodores played at the TV Garden on Friday night. Did you show up for that? Yeah, Lionel Richie and everybody. I thought you might. Hello? Here we go. All right. Stop it. Good evening and welcome to the Lawrence City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chamber and remotely. You may be able to access us via Zoom and also through our Lawrence City Council Facebook page and our YouTube Lawrence City Council page. At this point, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Levy.
Present.
Councilor Dela Cruz is noted as absent. Councilor Russell.
Present.
Councilor Rodriguez is noted as absent. Councilor Del Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Salinas.
Present.
Councilor Infante.
Present.
Councilor Estela Reyes. Council President LaPlante.
President, would you please rise for a moment of silence? So for public participation, we all know the rules, 2.5 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, the assistant clerk will let you know that you got 30 minutes to wrap up. Please do not speak to any specific member of the council, address the chair. And the first person this evening is Mr. Hester. Name and address, please, for the record.
Lawrence Hester, 171 Abbott Street, Lawrence, Mass. A concerned taxpayer, not here to gloat, to be on TV, or subjectivity, but objectivity, logical reasoning, based on facts, through the council president to address the council as a whole. What is our missions? What we need to address to make the city of Lawrence better for all. I want to give you some facts, true facts through history, lack of regulations, poor practices, calamity, disaster, regulations increase, congestion, growth. Do we see those present in Lawrence? Where are we headed? What are we going to do? Okay, $4,000 tax bill, $3,900 insurance bill. I have a business being conducted across the street from me in a residential neighborhood. 38 years, never before, by any necessary means, drop-offs, pickups, fake that they're going to the cellar, looking right at me. What do we do? What is our mission? Every city and town has rules and regulations. If the rules and regulations do not work, then throw them away. Let's make rules that work. But if we have rules on the books, then we have to enforce them. For instance, in the future, I'm going to be going through my counselor. We have a resident parking requirement. We need it. An elderly person cannot park in front of their house. They pay $4,000 worth of taxes. Uber, Lyft, everybody has more rights than the taxpayer. We need a residency requirement here in the city of Lawrence now, okay? Imagine an elderly person on a Saturday, does his grocery, has milk, has eggs, has perishable items, and has to walk 3 blocks to the house he's paying $4,000 worth of taxes. My question to you is, my reasoning to here, we need to get some proactivity. We need to start looking for the future before we have another tragedy, which we have had. And we do not learn until there's a tragedy. Let's be proactive. And I will be here from now 2 minutes for 12 months because I have to be more proactive, and it shouldn't be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hester. Will the clerk please call the roll for Mr. Rodriguez?
Counselor Giovanni Rodriguez?
Thank you. The next speaker and the last speaker is Mr. Mali. Mr. Mali.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. We demand the best contract for Lawrence police officers now. Lawrence Police, one of the best police departments in the nation, deserve the best contract and compensation. Lawrence Police, this union of pride and honor, we support Lawrence Police Union, Senior Officers Union, contract for Lawrence Police now. We are proud to declare September 13 every year, the day of the First Responder Appreciation Day. Lawrence, the DPW workers, million thanks. We support your great union and leadership. We support our inspection department union. You are doing excellent job. We must hire more inspector. We are proud to declare August 28th of every year the day of the appreciation of the Lawrence Public School employee and the city employee appreciation. Our citizens thank you, Lawrence teachers and Lawrence Public School employee. Lawrence teachers, you are number one. You're the most important reason for success of Lawrence Public School. Lawrence Public School with the budget of $260 million must pay the best compensation to our teachers and Lawrence Public School cafeteria workers. We are proud to support our great union from police officers, fire department, DPW, and teachers. And then in this election year, we are united to demand the best contract for Lawrence Police now. We are united to say, Lawrence Police, thank you for excellent job.
Thank you very much. And that addresses and topics are being submitted to the clerk to be part of our official record. Councilors, before this evening's meeting, I went to the audience just to see who is here for which items, and in the order in the agenda that they are here, I'm going to see if we can move in that direction. So the first item is going to be coming out of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Councilor Rodriguez, are you prepared? This would be somebody here for the Council on Aging. It's document number 29823.
Council President, the Budget and Finance Committee met, discussed item 29823, which is the authorization to spend grant funds, Council on Agents, for the amount of $161,160. It was put together and discussed by Marta Velez at the Budget and Finance Committee. We send that over with a favorable recommendation, and I make that as a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion?
Discussion, Council President.
Councilor Rodriguez, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council President. It is important to recognize that the Director of Health and Human Service was there with us, and she explained to us something that's very important that we need to make aware. We need to make the community aware of. This number, $12 per senior, based on the census, it add up to $161,160 coming to the community. On my end, it is important to recognize the importance of the census and how these data are making an impact on the community. If we all ensure that people get counted, we might get extra funds for people that we serve at this point. So I would like to take this opportunity to allow Marta Velez to explain a little bit more about this item.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. Martha Velez, 155 Haverhill Street, Director of Health and Human Services. I respectfully second what Councilor Rodriguez has said. It is truly important, very important, for people to understand that the census, we lived with this number for 10 years. So when the census was done in 2020, when we finished it and we got the information, our census numbers went from 9,000 seniors to 13,000, roughly around there. And it is $12 per senior per year for service that councils on aging get. So for every senior that we have, we get $12 per year to serve this elder. So we get $161,000 every year for 10 years until the next census comes in. And we're stuck with this number right now, but it's absolutely very important for people to understand how important census is. It is not about whether you're legal, not legal, it's about your residency. Where are you when the United States government counts people? Because they're counting people. It is very secure, no one's gonna come after you, and especially in the city of Lawrence, where we know that most of our households don't just hold one family, or even if I'm visiting my aunt and the census is done and I'm there for 6 months visiting her, I should be counted because I'm living there for 6 months. And we're stuck with this, and it's not only just for seniors, but this is what gives us Chapter 90 monies for our roads, it gives us school money, it gives us money to run cities. So all of this is numbers that are funneled down from the federal government to the state to local government. So I'm happy to say that we did bring our numbers up because we had 9,524 seniors. We now have, we counted 13,231, I believe it was. So we did increase our numbers, but I'm concerned because for the next 10 years, baby boomers are coming, there's gonna be more elders. So the only thing that we could do, and we have done with the Massachusetts Council on Aging, is to advocate at the state level to bring up the per senior costs. So it's, you know, I've been here a long time, but it went from like $9 to $10 to $11, and now it's at $12. I mean, with today's economy, it would be really good if we could get, you know, anywhere between $18 to $20 per elder. Because you're talking about, you know, $20 per elder per year. So it's not, you know, if you break it down, it's $1 a month right now that we get to serve all the elders, and then the rest of the money has to be found by grants and the city funding. So I appreciate the time you've given me to do this. And it's just as equally important for people to fill out their census for the city, right? Because that's how we know how many people vote and how many people have the right to vote, and then you have no problem. So I just want to make sure that people understand that when the government census comes out in 10 years again, it is, no one's going to come after you. It's really about just counting heads, and it's really important for our city funding to be counted because we are a community that needs resources.
Thank you, Council President. Just a quick question. What is the bottom line of the Age on Council on the Aging grant?
So what's the youngest that we could? 55. Yeah. Federally, so we have programs that we qualify 55 and over, and then federally, state money, you can serve 55 and over because there was a gap, and so they decided the councils on agings, there's a lot of people that are 55 and disabled, and they fall in the crack. But federally, for our meals program to be free, it's 60 and over. That I just qualified for. I'm proud to wear it.
If there's no other points, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
The next item is 269-23, which is right there. Budget and Finance.
Yeah, what I was going to do is I told folks I would go who's ever here. I know that's fast, but I just want to go through the folks who are here, but we'll come back to that.
Theo is here.
Who's here?
Theo. Right there.
269-23?
Yep.
Very good, let's do that one. There's no objection, Mr. Chairman?
All right, the next item, Council President, through you, is going to be 269-23, which is the authorization to spend funds of up to $500,000. Eversource Street repair reimbursement. It was sent out to the to the council through the director of the DPW, Jorge Jaime. And on his representation tonight, we have Theo Rosario, the city engineer. The motion will be to present it as a committee report. I mean, it was, I believe, yes. The motion was to be sent out as a committee report, and I would like to make that as a motion as a committee report.
So moved.
Motion is a committee report made by the chairman, seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion on the committee report. See no discussion on the committee report, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve for the purpose of discussion.
Motion to approve has been made and seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion.
Yes, Council President, through you. The reason why it was not sent out with a recommendation as a committee report was because we authorizing that the DPW to spend up to $500,000, but the true amount that they have received so far is $105,000 for the reimbursement of 4 different roads. Eversource is going to be keep on sending different checks. The way that the program works is that Eversource will pay for half of the road to be paved, and the rest of the money is going to come from the city if we want to pay, if we want to pave the entire road. So eventually, when they have up to $500,000 from different reimbursement, and then they're going to proceed to with the new allocation to be able to continue the paving on those roads. Part of the discussion at the committee was that if we want to get this approved up to $500,000, or we want to split the item on 1 and 2, approve the 105, and then once we keep on receiving more checks, we do the same as we did with the ARPA funds, which is basically enumerating it based on the check and the amounts that we are receiving, and not necessarily going back to the subcommittee, but only the committee, only the full council. So it's up to you, up to the city council to discuss. So far, the only thing we have for sure, secure, is $105,000, which is part of the package. With that said, Council President, I open that for the floor and continue with the discussion.
Is there anyone else who wishes to discuss this matter? Seeing none, no one wishes to speak. Matter's over. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document, we're going to go down to Ordinance Committee at this point. Madam Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee, Councilor Levy.
All right.
Start off with number 278, please, 23. 278, 23 out of the Ordinance Committee.
Item 278-23, resolution in support of the teacher and LPS employee, and declare August 28, 2023 as Lawrence Public School Day by Humayun Mali.
There's a motion.
I'm sending to the full committee as a formal motion.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. As a reminder, I was at this meeting, and I believe this was also amended at the committee level. Councilor, would you wish to address that?
I would like, yes, I would like to call Mr. Mali just to let the people know about it.
Good evening, honorable members. Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. This is an amended resolution in respect to appreciation of the all public school employees, Lawrence City employees and Lawrence Public School employees. Appreciation Day for the August 28 from now thereafter. Whereas the city employees of the Lawrence and Lawrence Public School employees have done excellent job on providing the best service for our citizens. Whereas it is important that our Lawrence City employees and the Lawrence Public School employees know that they have our full support, that we are united, truly grateful for their services. And whereas on the horrific days of the pandemic and every day, Lawrence citizens enjoy the best services because of all the great city employees, and our children receive the best education because of our #1 teachers and Lawrence Public School employees. Whereas to declare August 28, 23, in Lawrence, the day of the appreciation for awesome work, service, and dedication by our city employees and distinguished Lawrence Public School employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mali.
Ms. Levy?
Thank you, Council President. As you can hear, it's like it's August the 28th. It's going to be declared the city of Lawrence in the name of all city employees. So it's a recognition day for all of the employees, including all departments in the city of Lawrence, not just only the public school, but also DPW, the city council. We're going to do a recognition on that day, you know, August the 28th of every year from now on. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Thank you.
The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mali, for
The
doing
next,
this.
the next item, Madam Chair, is 28523.
Item 28523 is the G Group Transportation LLC. Approval of delivery license. It's a new business by Sergeant Molina from the Police Department. It was sent with favor recommendation, and I make it as a proper motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document, Madam Chair, is document number 29323.
Item 29323 is a friendship get-together on Monday, September the 4th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Corner Parks by Amarilis Garcia.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You have a permit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
The next document is document 29523, Madam Chair.
Document 29523 is the Mind and Purpose Basketball Tournament on Sunday, August the 27th, 2023, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. by Yeure Santiago. It was sent with full recommendation, and I make it as a formal motion.
Motion been made and seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You have a permit for that date.
Thank you. Good night.
Welcome. I do think we've got some folks here from Mello. Madam Chair, will you, 29723?
Item 29723 is the request to access sidewalk for produce display on 187 to 189 Lawrence Street. Was submitted by Cesar Checo, Melo Market. We send it to the full council as a committee report, and I'm doing as a formal motion.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. I think I'll talk about this now rather than at the next one. We did a little bit of research. There were some questions in the ordinance committee about whose jurisdiction. Is it the police jurisdiction, ISD, city council jurisdiction? And after a conversation that the clerk had with the city attorney, the closest that we can get to it, interestingly, is city council. So it's right that it's here. It's right that we're having this discussion, and it's right that the city council, should it choose, can issue a permit. So,
Council President, through your point of information.
sure.
I think that I sent that email 2 weeks ago, that it was a jurisdiction of the city council.
So, I think we're all on the same page. So is there any further discussion on this matter?
Over here.
Counselor Russell?
Thank you, Council President. With these people requesting access to sidewalks for produce displays, is there any fees that are going to be coming to the city for allowing them to use public sidewalks?
I'm not an expert on this, but I believe the answer to be no.
President.
Am I right or right? Do you give more information on this?
We just passed an ordinance a month ago that I put together, and it's supposed to be a fine, a fee on that. It could be, we can actually differentiate between the purpose of the ordinance, which is not for this, but it is for the use of sidewalk, and it's $100 for the permit, and it's 50 cents for per square foot. That was passed over a month and a half ago that I put that ordinance through. But the purpose of that ordinance changed since I wrote it down. It was not for event. It was more for construction activities.
So this is just to, I mean, we're going to get to a vote here in a second, but this is essentially to allow this grocery store to be able to place their wares on at least part of the sidewalk. There is no ordinance that we have that's precise, that's on point. But based on the closest that we can get from a couple of other ordinances, it does appear as though the closest place on point would be the city council to issue a permit. Councilor Infante? Okay. It's a committee report. Councilor Russell?
Thank you again. Is there any way that this thing can be extended from produce to the likes of the merchandise we see displayed on Essex Street, the mattresses, well, I won't get into anything else, but is there any way that that can be worked into this?
So right now, this is a specific ordinance for a specific applicant who's looking to use a sidewalk on Lawrence Street between 187 and 189 Lawrence Street. And so it doesn't, this is specific, it doesn't go to Essex Street, doesn't go anyplace else. It's licensed just for this applicant. Councilor Infante.
Thank you, through you, Chair. With all due respect to my colleagues, we do see many businesses that use our sidewalks without the city council permission. And we have this business here trying to do things the right way. And I'm listening to the feedback, I'm listening to the questions, and it's like, I hope you guys get the approval because you guys are doing what you're supposed to do. And I think, I'm sure I'm not the only city council, but thank you for that. And that's all I want to say.
Council President.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Sure. Before the pandemic, we have an opportunity to discuss this item. That was back then in 2018. No, 2018, and we have two different permits, which was here at the City Council. One of them was for Jackson and Exes, and the other one was on Exes Street for a beauty salon. Essentially, what happened during the pandemic is completely different than what we have in front of us. This is straight economic development, which is a great idea that we can expand this type of permits for this type of reasons. Economic development is what we need on that area. And now, realizing the area that we are discussing today, I think this is glad that it's happening there. We just have a business that it was a great amount of money that get invested on right in front of the business that is asking for the sidewalk use. And I think that if we keep on doing what they're planning on doing, and if we keep on doing what the restaurant did, that area in general is going to be so revitalized that it's going to be a great thing. I remember that with this specific business back in 2020 or 17, that the administration did an initiative when it comes to healthy eating and healthy food on an area that it was so needed, and it was on this specific place, and I was so glad that that happened back then, and now I'm glad that they are promoting healthy eating through using our sidewalks, which is the right thing.
Thank you very much. So just so we're clear, Councilor Rodriguez did have a motion that became an ordinance that passed, that's focusing more on construction. This is a food market situation. There's no precise ordinance that deals with it, but as close as we can get to it on some other ordinances, it does appear that the council does have approvals on it. So this is a committee report. After we vote on the committee report, I'll be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve?
I'm not there yet.
Second.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. All in favor of voting the committee report, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Now I'll be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor, by the chair, seconded by Counselor Infante. Discussion?
Discussion.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Thank you for doing what you guys do.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. How do the microphones work? I think you're our first people
Thank
using
you
them.
so much.
Good.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so, is that,
Mr. President, still I have 2 items in there, can I?
we do, I'm trying to get people out that are here for a reason. I'm trying to get people out. So, we can go back to 411C. If there's no objection on our tabled matters, there's document 411C22, creating a thriving Lawrence for its RFR response. Is there any objection for us going and taking that off the table? Seeing no objection, we're going to now deal with 411C22. Is there anybody from the administration that's here?
Council
What's
President?
the underlying motion on that? Is that we don't? Okay, I'm gonna need a motion, though. I'm gonna need a motion on this, up, down, sideways, a motion to approve, not approve something.
Council President,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to recuse myself.
Oh,
So employer conflict of interest.
so, yes. All right, we have one out, Counselor Russell.
I would like to recuse myself only on the issue of International Veterans Care Services, because I'm a board member there.
So what we could possibly do at some point is extract that to allow people to vote potentially if we're running out of people. Is that it for recusals?
I think it is actually.
2, 1, 2, 3. We got enough there? Okay, so. If you want to stick around and have a discussion, we're going to have to take that part out of it. You can't even be here for the discussion if that. So we can, what we could do, Counselor, if the membership agrees, is that we could take everything except the LVC. We'll split that up. And I'll ask the clerk for a little guidance on if there's a lettering or a numbering or something that can differentiate. And I'll need a motion for everything but LVC. Let's get some clarification. Mr. Spanner, welcome.
Good evening, Council President. Nice to see you.
Before we get into your remarks, we just need a little clarification for process.
Yes.
We have enough members here to vote. We do have a member here who would like to recuse themselves from a particular vote because of potential conflict or an apparent conflict of interest. The one that it is on is the LVC item. Which item is that?
Document number 40, well,
Clarification, is that being funded in your proposal or not?
No.
It is not.
Not.
so in that sense,
Correct?
it's the same.
So the question, and I think the clerk makes a good point. I think the clerk makes a good point, which is that because we're not voting on LVC this evening, because it's not part of the package, that the counselor can stay here. It's not going to be voted on. unless someone makes a proposal. Modification, and then all things change. Okay, so now with all of that done, if we're all clear, I will now need some sort of a motion from the body. Approve, a motion to not approve.
Motion to
Motion.
approve.
Motion made by Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Councilor Reyes. I asked if there was any objection to take it out there. No one objected. Did you? We don't, I asked the question, is there any objection for us taking this off of table matters? Nobody objected, I looked around. So, I think we're clear. Unless somebody objects at this point and wants to have that vote, we could streamline this, but, so there we go. So the motion's been made, properly seconded, discussion. Discussion, does anybody wish to discuss this matter? Who said sure? Councilor Rodriguez.
So I wanted to ask a few questions in regard to this item. I know that you guys sent an email specifying a few things there. Can you go through that email so we can have that for the record?
Yeah, sure. Before we go through it, I just wanted to refresh your memory that was one of your requests, I think specifically Councilor Rodriguez, that when we did our presentation, you've requested that we provide a list to the City Council with any changes that we provided from those that were organizations that were approved, accepted, and those that have been rejected. So at this moment, I would like to request Ms. Ilialis Reyes to come forward.
Good evening, honorable members. This is Ilialis Reyes.
So what do you want to know? It's just the list.
The list, okay. Okay, so for a total, I'll just give a quick summary. There were 51 organizations that applied, and a total of 38 were approved for contract, and a total of 13 were not funded. So I can, if you want me to go deeper into which ones, I can. Okay, so in terms of the ones that were funded, if you have the document that was emailed this evening, in the last page, I can tell you the ones that were approved. And to the right side, you have it there as well. So, number one, okay, number one is Cambiando el Mundo de Personas con Discapacidad. The other one is Ateneo Dominicano de Nueva Inglaterra. We have, that goes all the way to number 14. So, Instituto Cultural de Puerto Rico, the International Book Fair, Hispanic Heritage Smart Women's Business Hub, Inc., Sharing Hope, Inc., Straight Ahead Ministries, Elevated Thought, Beyond Soccer, Groundwork Lawrence, Federación Hispana de Comerciantes, Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, Essex Arts Center, Mills Cities Community Investments, Greater Lawrence Community Action Council, Lazarus House Ministries, Bread and Roses Heritage Committee, Three Saints, Inc., Top Notch Scholars, Lawrence Public Schools Adult Learning Center, Greater Lawrence Community Boating Program, Sueños Basketball, Serving Stars, Beyond Soccer, Olive in July, Lowtown Boxing Gym, Lawrence General Hospital, Semana Hispana in Lawrence, Downtown Lawrence Association, the Joy Fournier Services, New England Cultural Center, Ateneo, Amedal, Family Service of Merrimack Valley, Boys and Girls Club, Girls Club, Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, and bear with me, Lawrence Partnership, and that was the last one, Lawrence Partnership. Wait, one more. One more is Festival de Teatro de Lawrence. So that's a total of 38 approved.
So, through you, Council President. Since the last time we spoke, there is any changes in terms of projects that are not longer funded compared to the previous time that we were here?
Yes. The last time we were here, there were 2 organizations that were pending, which was number 45 and 46, My Life Program and International Veterans Care Services. Those were contingent on the Ethics Committee and other circumstances and
And information that needed to be provided.
and so the mayor decided not to go ahead and fund those. Another update, since the last time we were here, give me a moment to just review. Let's see. Oh, there were certain organizations that didn't have their annual reports updated. And as of right now, we have everyone's annual reports updated out of the 38 organizations, except one. We're waiting on one to update theirs. And that's the first one, number 1, Cambiando el Mundo.
So, last time that you were here, there were also 38 organizations that were supposed to be funded, or 38 plus 2? Because I feel like there is less now.
Yes. I'm trying to think, does anyone have notes on the amount that we reported last time? Because I don't have those notes on me.
That amount, specifically the way that you guys provide it now, it was not provided like that. It was like, basically, it was not like, okay, we have 38 now, but before we didn't have that specific number.
Give us just one,
We'll look
one
into it.
moment, please. Just as a footnote, some of the organizations that are applicants that were rejected, first of all, were private organizations. That made the difference as well, because this was specifically for nonprofit organizations. So within that list, some of them were identified as private entities. I mean, private for-profit entities.
And also, the email that got sent to us, can you go over that email so we have it for the record? That is specific, because there was some specific amounts on that that are no longer, the amounts change.
Yes, the amount
Some are gonna
changed.
change.
So if you guys, if the you members remember, the other form that had the department expenditure, where we listed out all the departments, the funding that each department was getting. Do you guys remember that? That document I'm talking about? So one of the things that was changed, the mayor requested that we take from the neighborhood initiative, the neighborhood safety initiative for $1 million to transfer and allocate funds, a total of $300,000 to the police department. Also to take $100,000 from the neighborhood safety initiative for community planning and community development, and then $50,000 from Health and Human Services. So a total of $150,000 to under the umbrella of planning and community development for the displaced victims. So,
And let me ask you a question. during that discussion back then, when we were discussing the ARPA fund, we also were discussing 3,074,000. That was specifically, it was related to that allocation that we did, that you guys did of the 150,000. That was for the displacement, no?
No, it's different. It's for homeless. Remember, you recall the $3,174,000 that were provided. You approved, and that was separate than the $16 million. $100,000 out of those funds was to hire a consultant to do a study based on the homeless population in the city, or a plan to identify how those $3 million would be spent, the home ARP funding. That was done, you approved it, and based on the recommendation and the proposal that was submitted to you, now staff need to make a recommendation to the mayor in terms of, to make a determination how those funds are going to be spent, those $3 million, based on the eligible projects. But the funding that that you're speaking about, for the displaced and fire victims, is for displaced fire victims, and also, families or individuals that are displaced during winter, during emergency. Those are the funds that were allocated from HHS to Planning and Community Development. The original amount was $150,000. The mayor requested to add an additional $150,000 to make it a total of $300,000 for emergency, for displaced families and so forth. That doesn't have absolutely nothing to do with homelessness in terms of the Home ARP program.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the characteristic of the funds, they were similar, so I'm
It looks similar, but it's not. These are HUD funds, and there are specific requirements and eligibility for this, for the Home ARP funding.
Have that money been allocated, the $300 million?
No, not yet. The $3 million, no.
Okay, let's go back to the ARPA fund, to this money. So now that we have, you mentioning that $300,000 is going to go to the police department out of their safety initiative.
Yes.
$1 million. Then $100,000 is going to go to the planning and development. That's the total of $400,000. So is the safety initiative going to be able to do whatever they present here with only $600,000?
Yes, the reason for that change is because I think you're familiar with the LEAPS.
You also removed some funds away from there when we did the initiative with the community of faith.
Yes, but that was basically, we were informed that that was incorrect. We thought that too. But the Department of Finance indicated that $200,000 or $207,000, $205,000, let me correct myself, was dealt separate because the City Council approved those funds separately from the total ARPA funding. We requested that information that could be shared with you because we just received that information today, this morning.
So essentially the safety initiative, which is part of this, the ARPA fund, only gonna get allocated $600,000.
$600,000, and this is the reason, Councilor.
Okay.
During the meetings that we had, we identified that the LEAPS program, which is also a grant funded, covers or has similarities with the Neighborhood Safety Initiative. So what we're doing, we don't want to duplicate the program. What we want to do is capitalize and leverage some of those resources, and then remove some of the funds that we came before you that we otherwise didn't know that was covered under LEAPS, would be placed, allocated to the police department for additional services that is needed within the community.
So now And then a second, I'm gonna talk about the procedures, which I'm thinking about right now. Are we gonna, because the reason that I'm asking about that is because some of those funds are gonna be expended on districts that are in so much need, perhaps the district that I represent in District C. And it does make me worry that now the safety initiative, we're not gonna be able to do it fully because of the lack of funds.
Absolutely not. What we did is, the mayor said that since the LEAPS funding has a very close correlation with the neighborhood safety initiative, some of the funds that are coming from LEAPS are going to be utilized within the neighborhood safety initiative, which makes sense.
And let me ask you, is that gonna change the area that the LEAPS funds are gonna be used?
It may increase, it may, we're evaluating, probably there's more other neighborhoods that we can cover with those funds.
All right, that make me worry because that's what happened all the time.
No, but.
I mean, not necessarily now, but it keep on happening, and I'm seeing it, that something started in one way and then ended up in another way, and neighborhoods that are in really needs never get the equal amount of funds.
Yes, but we will continue with the funds, continue with the programs. What we're evaluating now with additional grant funding that's coming through the LEAPS program, that can also be used to extend and amplify the program, to cover other neighborhoods.
And the neighbors that originally was placed on the observation.
They remain the same.
I'm gonna keep on looking at that. In terms of procedure-wise, when we approved that, the $16 million, we approved a specific allocation for the neighborhood safety initiative, which now got changed to the police department and another department that have all the purpose for this initiative. That is not related to this initiative necessarily. My question will be procedures-wise. If we approve the I believe it was $1.2 million for the safety initiative.
It was $1 million.
It was $1 million. My question will be, don't we have to take another vote to reallocate those funds to the different department that you guys are proposing?
That's exactly what we're doing tonight. We're requesting for every time there's any changes, whether there's funding that's been reallocated, or let's say if there's funds that are left over, we have to come back to you. That's the understanding.
No, but the question will be, you send that information with the purpose of getting a motion to reallocate those funds?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna have to
vote.
Take a vote on this, which is the $4 million something that is for the 38 organizations, plus the other allocations.
Yes, for the
on
departments.
the two different purposes.
Right.
All right. Going back to these organizations here. So, some of the questions that we asked before, it was related to the process. And the process that we were going to follow was related to some similarities to the CDBG's funds. And some of the discussion we have, it was like perhaps checking out all the paperwork, getting everything ready, have a specific requirements for those organizations. And during the conversation, we also mentioned that that we should be looking at a certificate of good standing for the different organization, making sure that they were organized, that they were established as a corporation or non-profit or whatever it was.
Yes.
And did we do that process? Everything
One
was
second.
done?
I will have staff that worked on it and give.
Good evening, councilors. Sue Fink from the Office of Planning and Development. We did look up every nonprofit that applied to make sure that they were up to date with the Secretary of State, to make sure that they were up to date with their filings. We verified that they were all 501c3s with the IRS.
All of them were 501c3 or they were nonprofit corporation? There's a big difference between the two.
So
Well,
with
they were-
the,
they
with the
were-
IRS, they're 501c3s, and then with the state, I made sure that they were all filed as nonprofit corporations.
Okay. So, do we have the number, like how many nonprofit corporation we have and how many 501c3? Oh, you didn't count it?
I didn't count them that way.
Okay, no problem. So, all of them are in order. We have,
We have one that's got to
Yeah.
fill their
gotcha.
2022 report, but we
And,
spoke with them today about that.
Okay. And also, you guys interview them, or you guys talk to them, or that was something related to that?
Yeah, most of the organization that we have spoken to them. But we're gonna have a second conversation with them when they come in to sign the contracts, because they have to understand the evaluation model that we presented to you. One was the CIPP model, context, input, process, and product. The other one would be the KPIs for the, for, let's say, organizations that work with the businesses. For instance, MCCI, Lawrence Partnership, the Federación Hispana, because those are different ways to measure the proposed objective with these organizations.
All right. So during the process that you guys gonna do the contract, there is a possibility of rejecting or denying or perhaps just not giving out the funds at that point?
Remember, it's based on a reimbursement basis. Some organization may have, let's say, a capital of 10,000, others may have 100,000.
No, but that's not the question. Because for us to get to that point, the contract need to be signed before that. Before they start spending funds, a contract need to be signed.
Yes.
So my question is before that. My question will be, at the point of the contract signing day, perhaps, when they go to the office and to sign up the contract, there is another type of evaluation that you guys gonna do at that point, and the possibility of rejecting any type of any organization at that point, or no?
No, at that point, I mean, by now, we have already reviewed all the organizations and well, basically, we did our due diligence. Not at this point, but during the process, there may be some of them that we will eventually continue if they meet their performance measures, and if they don't, then
Gotcha.
unfortunately, we will discontinue the.
No, that's fine. That's basically, if they violate the contract, and then we
Right.
have all the right to just dismiss them. All right, Council President, thank you for the opportunity.
Counselor Russell?
Thank you, Council President. Okay, I'm looking at the last page of the thing. It says $14.4 million was requested, $14 million was requested. You handed out a little bit over 4.4. That's 31% of the money that was requested. 51 people or groups were looking for money. You accepted 38%, and that was 74.5% of the groups. Now, I don't think it's any great secret to anybody in the city. I'm not a fan of Lawrence General Hospital and their fiscal policies. They put in for almost $52,000. They got $50,000. They got 96.5% of their request. Isn't giving money to Lawrence General like sending coal to Newcastle?
It depends on it depends how you view it. The mayor, when he evaluated these programs, there's different initiative or new initiatives that are presented before the city. They are working in partnership with a new program that has to do with teen pregnancy. As a matter of fact, recently, I believe they are going to also work in partnership with Harvard on a new program that has to do with genetic testing to identify, I mean, that's not in this program, but there's always a new initiative that comes before, and let's say the city, and there's different partnerships, and that doesn't justify the fact that you have a hospital that's getting money. Probably they're not funded for this particular, let's say, community programs, and that's the reason why the mayor considered this initiative as a key component for the community.
I take it as a slap in the face to money that comes to the city, that we're giving money to them. They have buckets of money. I mean, I've looked at their tax filing. I mean, you've got board of directors that are making $400,000 a year. You've got a CEO making $800,000 a year that walked away with, what, $100,000 bonus several years ago. They can't scrape up between them, you know, throw in the ante, $50,000. This is money that could have gone better spent in the community. Teen pregnancy, yes. It's an issue, but why are we, like I said, I asked my question previously, isn't this like sending coal to Newcastle?
Any other comments by colleagues? So I've got just a couple of questions. So this is the bottom line number for this evening, if this vote passes, is for how much money?
$4,445,000 US dollars.
On the title, the most updated title, it just says 4.685, so where's the other approximate, on this sheet right here, on this cover sheet, this may be an old sheet, so that may be part of the answer. Where's the other $200,000?
Those were from the organizations that weren't approved.
Yeah, those were from organizations that were not approved.
And so what's the remaining balance? If we pass this evening, what's the balance?
You received a sheet? Yes.
So the remaining balance, just so I can say this out loud, is $735,000 that remains in our ARPA free cash accounts.
Yes.
What are the plans for that? Are there any plans for the 735?
If there is any future plans, as indicated on your February 22nd vote of this year, we will come back to you and we will present any changes or if the mayor has any plans in regards to the remaining balance. But the 735,000, I don't have my glasses, my apologies. The mayor indicated that that he did not feel comfortable to fund the enterprise agency, which agencies like the airport, the cemetery, and also water and sewer. So that's an additional $1.5 million, and as we have brought before you the different list of categories, those funds would be going to the housing initiative that was presented originally in the document in February.
In this spreadsheet, initially there were some monies that were allocated for to spur low and moderate housing growth in the city.
Correct.
Does that remain inside this package?
Yes, if you see the $1.5 million, that includes the cemetery, the water and sewer, and the airport.
I'm talking about the 4.4. Is it embedded in the 4.4 that we're about to vote on this evening?
No.
No, I'm just talking about the 4.4, so the other stuff,
But I'm responding to your question, so it could be clear. The $1.5 million, which includes the enterprise agencies, which is cemetery, water and sewer, and airport, that's combined 1.5, and it is explained in the notes, plus the remaining balance of 35, if you combine them, and if you go to the original document that was presented to the city council, it shows and reflects almost the same amount with a deficit of $15,000. And the reason for that was because the mayor wanted to fund all the applicants all the organizations that submitted an application.
Wanted to focus on this 4.4 million, because that's the vote before us this evening. Do the folks who are going to be awarded, who have applied and going to be awarded the money, do they fully understand this is a one-time cast infusion, and this is not going to be, it's unlikely that this money going to be replicated in future years?
Correct.
That's really clear, because what I sense is happening, things are perking in my ears a little bit, is that people may not fully understand that you're getting it this year, but this is not a forever. This is not every year now. This is a one-time shot. And so do people, they get that. They understand that.
Yes.
And this council next year or the year after is not going to get someone saying, well, you funded us for this year. We've got this great program. Keep funding us now. I mean, we're going to hear that if this thing works really well. And I just want to make sure that they understand this is one time, right?
Correct. And is the intention to bolster? Remember, this was ARPA-related funding. We kept it in the spirit of the intention of the ARPA funding because Lawrence has been one of the communities that was most affected by the COVID pandemic. And this, based on that reasoning, the mayor intended to use these funds to boost these organizations for them to continue their work in the community. But this is, like you said, not a repetitive or reoccurring funding to these organizations. Once it's done, it's done.
And that'll be included in the contract.
And
Counselors who wish to speak on this
that would
item.
be included in the contract as well.
If there's, Counselor Levy.
I have a question.
Counselor Levy, and then Counselor Rodriguez. We're going to try to wrap this up if we can.
Thank you,
So let's go to
Council
Counselor Levy, first-time speaker. Go ahead.
So how long those people had to expend the money?
They have 2 years.
2 years. So
years.
practically, they need to submit, or they're gonna, on the daily basis, weekly basis, whatever that's the way that they wanna submit it, the invoices?
Good evening, councilors, again. When we negotiate the contract with each agency, they will set their benchmarks, the goals that they're going to meet, and when they will be submitting their reimbursement requests. I doubt that anybody will be asking for money more than often once a month. That would be probably the most often anybody would ask. Generally, people ask for, on like a CDBG contract, we generally get maybe 2 requests per year. I anticipate that this will be something similar. Some of the smaller organizations might need to request reimbursement more often, but that's all part of the contract negotiations.
So people who receive money through this program, are they also eligible to receive money through the CDBG grant
If they apply, yes.
by the end of the year?
It just can't be for the exact same expenses, obviously. But they can apply for CDBG when that comes out in the fall.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Council President. So we got the last sheet, the expenditure analysis. Those are the $16 million that were approved back then, like some time ago. No, now going back to the ARPA fund, there were $58 million. Out of that, we declared free cash about 30 million, right?
I don't have it specifically. I remember that on February 23rd of this year, I submitted on behalf of the mayor the complete document with the history behind it. I don't recall specifically all.
No, that's fine. I just wanna get that question through. So So out of that, I remember that we declared free cash, like around 28 to 30 million dollars out of that we were able to justify last year. But my question will be more related to the rest of the funds that I think it's gonna come up this year. Is that gonna be close to $20 million as well? On the free cash that we're gonna be able to declare out of the ARPA funds, or no?
I don't have that specific answer tonight, but I can come back and let you know.
Because
The reason why I don't,
some
because I don't
clarity
have the specific numbers, so
Does anybody here remember like the amount of, that we declared surplus back then, when we were able to justify part of the free cash? Part of the ARPA fund as a free cash?
I believe that I think your 58 was pretty close to it, because some of that, a lot of that went to schools and
Yeah, I know.
to the police station.
yes, but specifically with the amount, I don't have that information. I do have the memo, which was, I think, Madam City Clerk, remember this document that we requested to be shared with the city council members? And I think it's this document that indicates the memo. Yeah, the packet.
As far as I remember, we declared.
Yes, and in
That
this
That
memo,
was the ARPA fund, yes. That was the total amount, but I don't think that we were able to justify the full amount to be able to declare free cash at that point. Mike will be able to provide a better answer.
yes, I can have this conversation, but I know I can refer back to document number 411-22, is this memo that was submitted, and it gives you the breakdown. How much specifically the remaining balance and how it was distributed between the three major projects, which was the Oliver School, the Leahy, and also the new police headquarters.
For sure that the rest of the money is not gonna be purposed in the same way as we did with the $60 million. I know for sure that we have specific things that we're gonna be doing, which is the construction of both of the schools and the police department.
Correct.
All right, just wanna make sure that, because I think that a vote is coming up eventually for to declare part of the rest of the funds and be able to have in a special account, and whatever we need to do, but I mean, eventually we'll probably go through that. All right, Council President, I just accept the gavel at this point.
Any other comments?
Yes, one more, we need a 30-day. If you can waive the 30 days.
So you are going to make that part of your motion, Counselor? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if there's no other comments by my colleagues, it is typical that the chair does not have a chance to speak or does speak on this matter, but the chair does wish to speak, and I wish to have the final word this evening. So I'm going to pass the gavel over to the next senior individual, which is Councilor Rodriguez, with the gavel, and this won't take long, and then we can call for the vote. I just want to bring some perspective on this, my colleagues. We just roughly talked about how much money we're looking at. This is an incredible amount of money that we're nearing the finish line on the amount of money that we're spending. Never in the city's history have we spent this kind of money for this kind of discretionary manner. And this is very historic, and I'm not sure we'll ever see it, at least in today's dollars, happen in the future. I will say that there's probably a lot of very good things that are inside this packet, and there's probably a lot of good things we can be very proud of should this packet and all the entire package passes. I will say that even with that, I'm still very uncomfortable with this vote. There's a lot of minutia, there's a lot of detail, and there has to be a lot of trust that the administration is going to take this and fund this in a way that's proper. When this is a potential of organizations both internally and externally, who may find this to be an opportunity to create and grow what government is doing. I know there's some desire from the administration to not have government grow, but rather have nonprofits do it to somehow buffer that from happening. But there's still a risk associated with it. And I really wanted this to have, if I had the ability to do it, and I didn't have the council vote on this, but I really wanted us to drill down a lot more throughout this matter and have the committee deal with it. That didn't happen that way, and we are where we are right now. But I will say that I am planning on voting yes this evening on this matter. It's I've been on this council now, you all know, for 18 years. This is a very uncomfortable vote for me to take because there's a lot of money going out and there's a lot of moving pieces. And there's constant tweaking that's going on. And we're shuttling a lot of things from this account to that account. If they didn't qualify, they did qualify. And it is very complex. And I understand the administration's desire to get the money on the street as soon as possible to be impactful. I fully understand that. But I just wanted you all to know that, Mr. Chairman, that this is a tough vote. You wouldn't think that it would be, but for me, this is a challenge. So with that, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll ask for the question to be called.
Any other questions on this matter? I hear none at this point. I call the question. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Cordially, I would like to ask for a roll call, please, so everything is on record.
Councilor Infante, noted as absent as she's recused herself. Councilor Selena Reyes. Yes. Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Russell.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz is noted as absent. Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Council Vice Chair is noted as absent. Council President LaPlante.
Yes.
The voting pass.
I did.
Voting pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I think that's it for folks that are here this evening. So we can go back to the top under public hearings.
Mr. Spanner.
Okay, so under public hearings at this point,
No, I mean, we have an item that you probably want to take before he leaves.
is there a matter that you wish to take up? You have it. Which item is that, Counselor?
That's in regards to the question for the childcare?
The item 230-23.
Which one is that?
320-23.
Do you wish to give your comments now, Mr. Chair? This is your item. You have a chance to.
It's a communication that we've received from the mayor and probably Mr. Spanner. Once we have that in front of us, he probably have some information in regard that he can share with us. So that's why I wanted to take this up.
That's the question in regards to the childcare?
No,
Oh,
we
this
don't
is
have that on
different?
the item. We don't have that on the agenda right now.
Okay.
This is in regard to the funding that for the ISD. I know that we received a response, but we're probably going to have to open the floor.
Let me do this. So this is under, just a couple things. This is under communications from Mr. Rodriguez, right? So he placed this on the communications for mayor, city official, city attorney, and city council. So the floor is actually, Mr. Rodriguez, you have the floor. You can talk about this issue however you want to talk about it. My understanding is that through your good work, there was a document under new business 306 that I think addresses it. If you wish to speak now on this matter, you have the floor. We are going to send this document down where it's, I think, going to your committee, where you can actually drill as deeply as you want and send it back up and we can continue, right? So is there any comments that you have on this matter? Because you have communication. This is your matter, Counselor, for your comments.
I haven't even,
No, I mean, I just don't want, because essentially, once we send it over to the committee, we probably gonna need a finance person in front of us, not necessarily a decision-making. So, but if you're willing to come down to
The budget and finance?
To the budget and finance
Yes,
with more
definitely.
information, because I would like to speak regarding to the people that were there that are no longer working for the city, that they were trained for years, and they were working for the city, but they're no longer with us, to ensure that we don't go back to the training position that we always go back to. If those people are available to come to work, so we can take advantage of the money that we spent on training before.
Thank you. I'll bring it to the mayor's attention. But I'll be there as well, and I'll request the chief of staff to be there as
All right,
well.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with that, thank you, Mr. Spanner. Good evening. Thank you. So with that, we're going to go back to the top with public hearings. I'll ask the clerk to read the first public hearing notice, which is for document number 131-23. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice?
Document number 131-23, at 71 East Haverhill Street. Notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 15th, 7:00 p.m. at a public meeting in the council chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to the Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and in accordance with the recently revised City Council Rule 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and remotely to accommodate any participant with health consideration that prevents them from participating in person. To receive access codes for remote participation, please contact the city clerk at e.bernal, eileen.bernal@cityoflawrence.com, 1978-620-3230. The meeting may be viewed on Facebook and YouTube. The purpose of said hearing is to have the testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following subparagraph to section 10.36.250 of the Municipal Code, 20-minute parking. East Haverhill Street, east side, from a point 51 feet south of Vine Street to a point 71 feet south of Vine Street, and from a point 71 feet south of Vine Street to a point 91 feet south of Vine Street. Such limited parking shall apply between 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Looking for a motion, councilors. Motion approved by Councilor Reyes. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? See no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I'm looking for a motion from the clerk from reading the preamble for each of the
So
public
moved.
hearings.
Second.
Question, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 14323.
Document number 14323 is a handicap parking at 8 Hay Street, D-A, put on the agenda by Dorca Cristofano and Councilor De La Cruz. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence, to be further amended by adding the following subparagraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicapped parking. Hay Street, west side, from a point 110 feet north of Pleasant Street to a point 130 feet north of Pleasant Street. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilor Levy, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 16523. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice?
Document 165-20, parking at Street in front of P. Lone Market, 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. On the agenda by Councilor Vice President Reyes and Luis Frias.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion made by the Councilor Levy, seconded by Councilor Russell. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 20123. Clerk, will you please read?
Yeah. Document 201-23 is a 215-minute parking removal at 486 Howard Street, put on the agenda by Councilor Levy and Francisco Frias. The purpose of the hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment of the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence, to be further amended by deleting the following subparagraph to section 10.36.260 of the municipal code, 15-minute parking. Howard Street, west side, from a point 88 feet north of Platt Street to a point 108 feet north of Platt Street, and from that point to 128 feet north of Platt Street. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Infante. Discussion? I got a good discussion on this, Councilor Levy. Can you, there's a new store that's being located there, a new convenience store, and now they have 15-minute parking. What's the rationale behind taking the parking, the 15-minute parking away from that store?
Move to side of this.
So do we know when that store is becoming operational? The new store that's on where the signs are right now?
The newest store?
The ones, yeah, the new ones where the signs are currently, the signs that we're looking to withdraw. Do we know when they're looking to open?
No, I still no. I don't know when they're gonna open.
If they were to come back to us and ask for
We say
15-minute
that,
parking,
yes, that we're gonna put it again.
we would go through the process again, is your
Yes.
understanding? If let's say if they come back and they open in September, we would start something in September?
Yeah, well, if they gonna, I don't know if they're gonna have a store, what they gonna open over there. I think so that still they are looking for someone right now because everything is closed. So I don't know what they're gonna do. But we already told them that if they had a new business in there, that we can go through the process and we're gonna, again, to put the sign back.
Through you, Council President.
I will, let's see. So, was this a recent conversation with the new owners of that, where this current store was, or about to be store? Is that,
Officer Cano had a conversation with them, I think so that's maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when we put that, this in here.
okay. Councilor
And
Rodriguez?
also we have, I'm sorry, also we have email, we have an email from Officer Cano letting us that we have to remove right now at this point.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Council President, I think that we should, just for part of the record, I think that we should just state, I think, the conversation that I'm gonna state the conversation I have, and I hear that you also have the same conversation, and you went there and observed the situation. Is that the case?
I was invited to go there and take a look, and I told the individual that they should be here this evening if they have any comments regarding the public hearing, and they're not here this evening.
What I hear from the people that called me, it was that they are in the location that they were before, and the signs were moved to the other side, but they are in need of their signs. They are in need of the signs that was approved by the city council. By changing it from one place to another place, that will mean that now there is one side that is not going to have the 15-minute parking. That's what you hear?
So, here's my understanding. There's two things, and this gets complex, and I try not to be complex. The only matter before us right now is one side of the street. Only one side of the street. There's other stuff on across the street, but on one side of the street, properly and lawfully, there are two 15-minute or whatever, there's 15-minute parking signs lawfully on that side of the street. There's other stuff going on the other side of the street that I can't explain. I mean, I understand, but it doesn't make sense to me what happened, but whatever. We're just dealing with this one side of the street.
So let me go back and clarify this then. So the item that we have in front of us, what is the intent? The intent is to place a 250-minute parking on the sides that never exist, or remove from one side to put it on the other side?
What is before us right now is to delete the ordinance that gave permission to have the parking signs where they are lawfully right now. Take them down.
All right, I'll provide the information that I have in terms of those two items, those 250-minute parking. The people called me up and said, we need them, and we're gonna have this, a business on that location, and they're in the process of currently building up whatever they need to do to be able to reopen. So if we delete those 250-minute parking, they eventually gonna have to come back again, and we're gonna have to pay for the newspaper and re-announce it again and do the public hearing again and do this and do that. Why don't we instead keep the one that we have lawfully in the place that we have it and approve the two new ones if they need it? I mean, is that can be done?
It can be done, but you can't do it off this item, because there needs to be a public hearing across the street for it to be lawfully done. Abutters and neighbors need to be notified, so they have an opportunity to speak on this matter. So we couldn't just amend this, because it's another side of the street. The only thing before us right now is this one side, what is this, the east, whatever side it is? When you're in front of 486, that's the only thing before us. Everything else across the street, while important, it's got to have its own matter, its own special number, its own special agenda item. So all we're dealing with is that one where there's a deletion.
So the question will be to Councilor Levy. Levy, do we have those signs in the proper on the location that were approved before?
Yes, we have the sign on the other side of the location. Yes,
Where it's supposed to be,
where it's supposed to be. Yes.
where they legally
Yes.
find.
Yes.
I don't believe that to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
My understanding is that across the street from there are two signs that are not, I've talked to the clerk about this, and I think it's talking to the city attorney. There were no ordinances across the street from that, the other spot. There's only one, the one that we're looking to withdraw is the only place right now where there's lawful signs. The signs across the street, very questionable. I don't think there's ordinance for that. Clerk, can you back me up on this?
Just to clarify, there's two different issues. I think that's what it's,
Yes.
because the first issue is on the west side of the street. There's two 15-minute parking and there's no store. And it's specifically back on the agenda this time because Officer Cano came and asked us to put it back on the agenda. And Officer Cano said he's been out to the location several times and there is no store. And this has been on our agenda since May, so there is a store coming. We believe that. But in May, June, July, now it's August. Is it going to be September? He's like, I'm out there all the time fighting with people because they want to park in these two 15-minute parking spots. There's no store to have a 15-minute parking spots. So can we take the signs down? When she's ready for her store, we'll put them back up. That's Officer Cano's request to this body. So at his request, this went back on the agenda to remove those west side of the street signs. On the east side of the street, you probably need to adopt a new ordinance to do some signage on that side of the street. But that's not this item that's before you. But this was on the agenda before, you remember, and we did, at one point, we withdrew the document because she said she was going to be putting in a store, but now months have gone by, there's still no store there, and at Officer Cano's request, it's back on the agenda because he's out there every day dealing with people that are complaining that they can't park there because, and if there was a store, it would make sense, but where there's no store yet. So yes, we're going to have to republish to do the spots over if and when she's ready for her store.
Because the reason that I'm saying this and getting involved on these signs is because I received a phone call saying, yes, we are opening, like, soon. If we're just gonna do it, I mean.
There is, I can tell you right now, there is no store, there is nothing in there still yet.
There is two set of signs there that are completely illegal, that shouldn't be there. That's on the other side of the street. That's also the first sign that we should be removing, because those are illegal. Like, come on, guys.
That's
Co-
not our choice, that's the choice.
I did personally
No,
talk.
I think that it is our choice. I think that we should send correspondence to the police department and say, comply with the law. Or DPW, whoever it is. I mean, we have the matter in front of us.
We don't have that matter.
Well, we have an issue in front of us that is dealing with that 15-minute parking.
We certainly can, all of us can at some point make, whoever's interested can certainly make that request to, I don't want to, we can put it on the agenda if we want. It's not on the agenda tonight. We have one, let's keep this super simple. One side of the street, looking to withdraw. The question, it sounds to me as though it boils down to this. We don't know when there's going to be a store. There's been some comment that the store is going to be there soon. We don't know when soon is, maybe this month, maybe next month, we don't really know. No one's here in a public hearing to provide some proponents or give an argument either side, and now we're at this spot.
What I'm saying is the following. We join 2 legally bind signs and not removing the 2 illegal signs that are in front of it that are causing the issue. That's what is in front of us.
That's not in front of us. The quote-unquote illegal signs are not in front of us. The only thing that's in front of us, I'm not arguing, frankly, about the end result. I mean, I think a lot of us are on the same page about the across the street stuff. I just don't think that right now, this is the place, at this meeting, on this item, which is across the street, this is creeping to a different part of the street. We need to stay focused on whether or not this item needs to be withdrawn. That's the question.
I have a question.
Through you, Council President, I think.
And then Councilor Levy after Councilor Rodriguez. Go ahead. I heard you first, Councilor Rodriguez.
Oh, you said?
I heard you first.
I'm gonna just say my last statement on this. I shouldn't miss wasting too much time on this. But if we're gonna publish this, it costs a lot of money to the city. If there is parking that are not supposed to be taken by 15 minutes or whatever amount of minutes that are placed there and it's causing an issue, I think that the issue is not the legally bind signs that we will join today. I think that the issue is something else that is across the street. And by withdrawing what is legal and maintaining what is illegal, we're just doing completely wrong what we got bought in for. It is just simple signs, but I mean, I think it's the concept that is important here.
Councilor Levy.
Can we table this item and to go back to the place, to the area, to look at the both sides? I know I spoke with the lady from the other side, and I said, if that sign is removed, that is also Officer Cano told her. You open your store, we're gonna put it back, the side. But I can go back, the street, we can table. I can look at both sides of the street. We can look for both items, either one, but for me, according to what I have and that I recorded with the email sent by Officer Cano, both sides are ready, in there.
All right, so is that a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to table.
Motion to table, is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Infante. No discussion on the tabled matter. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Last one is document 24923. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice? $249.23.
Document number 249-23 is the handicap sign removal at 310 Salem Street, put on by Council Infante. The purpose of the hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment of the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence be further amended by deleting the following subparagraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicapped parking. Salem Street, south side, from a point 130 feet westerly of the intersection of Newton Street to a point 150 feet westerly to the intersection of Newton Street. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve.
I think I heard Council Del Rosario make a motion to approve. I think it was seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none?
Just-
Discussion?
Thank you.
Councilor Infante.
Through you, Council President, just a quick reference. The reason why this matter came to me, the homeowner emailed me. What happened? Okay. The homeowner emailed me concerned about parking tickets that he was receiving. The handicap parking was needed for the prior homeowner, and now there are new homeowners, so now we are removing this ordinance for them.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're jumping now to the ordinance committee. I think we have two more things left there. I'm looking to the vice chair to give us a committee report on document number 28923.
Document 28923 is removal of one handicap parking. So we have two handicap parking on that area. Space 53 Beaufort Street by Liliana Peralta in order in a public hearing. So I send it as a full committee report, and I make it as a formal motion.
Motion is to order a public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Motion been made and seconded by Councilor Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next document is 29423.
Item 29423 is compartimos art installation, September 22, October the 29, 2023, Campanon Common, Port San Argueta, and this is for Weed Rock. I make it as a formal motion.
Motion made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Under old business, there's document, what did I miss? There's a motion to reconsider document 28923. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Reyes. All in favor? Discussion. On the motion to reconsider. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to reconsider, and then we can discuss that. Yeah.
There's a motion to reconsider on the floor. It's been properly seconded. Now there's discussion. The motion to reconsider. Is there, do you want to know?
No.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now I'm looking for a motion on this matter.
Motion to, I don't know what type of motion. Not table.
Mr. Dominguez, I think we're clear this evening. We'll give you back your stuff. I don't think there's any more need. Public hearings are closed, so thank you.
Motion to approve for the purpose of discussion.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion.
Yes, Council President. Before we actually agreed to go ahead and spend some money on the publication for this public hearing, I think it is important to say a few things on these items. 55 Bradford Street, that's in my district, and we all very aware of this item. There was this guy that came over, that he actually fell in his property, and he requested that sign. Back then, I believe it was almost like 2 years ago. when we request the sign, there was another handicap placard around the area that he was using the sign, he was using the parking spot, and we ended up having two signs there on the same location, one behind the other one. I think that everybody remember that person. He was very injured. He showed the injuries and the mic. And he also mentioned that he was calling my number many times, and he ended up calling the office. Before I do anything with the signs, I would like to do an investigation just like we did whenever we installed the signs. We installed both signs for a reason, and that was 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Now, removing one of the signs, that might bring us back to the same problem, because there is two handicaps there for a reason. There is two handicap placards that used it, and that and there is so far the last time I passed by, I saw both of the guys park. So before we say yes, let's remove it, I think that it will be important to do some research whether or not they are needed, because we have those two signs, one behind the other ones, for a specific reason, and that happened not that long ago. Going back to remove it, that might bring us to ground zero, which is basically no solution of the problem that we faced 1.5 years ago. So I would like to send correspondence to the police department to do an investigation in regard to whether or not those two signs are no longer needed before we go ahead and publish for public hearing, which is going to cost the city some money.
So my understanding here is that they're looking for, Councilor Rodriguez is making a motion to send correspondence to the police department and to ask, what question?
To research whether or not the two signs are not longer needed at this point, because 1.5 years ago they were needed.
To further research the need for two signs.
Yes.
The motion's been made. Is there a second to this motion? Seeing no second, the motion fails. I hear Councilor Levy first, and then Councilor Infante. Councilor Levy, you have the floor. Why do you rise?
Councilor Rodriguez, I don't know if you read the letter that it was sent to us.
It was a letter by one of the tenants around the area. Yeah, it might be uncomfortable for the other tenants around, but there was a need, and a truly need, that was in front of us. One of the few people that came in front of the city council requesting a sign, and the guy was extremely injured when he came over. Taking one of those signs, yeah.
Because what I said in here is that they move.
That's what they said. I wanted to make sure that happened, because I mean that's one of the tenants that have nothing to do with the parking signs when we have it on. So if we order the public hearing with no recommendation from the police department, because the thing is like here, every time we send that over, to send something over to public hearing, we have the police recommendation first. It's not police recommendation on this. I'm saying let's not miss that. Police haven't been involved in this.
Okay, Councilor Infante?
Councilor Levy said what I was going to say.
All right, so it sounds as though,
It is a letter from the tenants that they say they move. Okay, I can say my tenant my neighbor is no longer around because I don't see them. But what about if they're in the hospital? What about if they have something going on at this point that they're not being around for quite some time? What about if they, we need to do a deep investigation on this, because those two signs, two non-typical situations happened with those two signs. And councilors, I don't know if you were here when that happened. I was. That's within my district. And I'm telling you, we have a big issue with those two signs. And usually you don't have two signs, one behind the other. The first one we actually approved was not enough for the two situations. And then we ended up a second one to find a solution of the issue. If we remove one today, we're going back to zero just because we get a letter saying that they move.
What would you like?
Let's do some investigation, send that over to the police department. I don't think, Councilor, this is a big deal. Come on. Like, if you guys have some similar issue like that, I back you guys up. Like, come on. If you guys don't want it, go ahead. But that means that doesn't make any sense. That's all I'm gonna say.
Council.
So right now, there's a motion. There currently is a motion to approve. I think there may be another motion coming for the letter. Do you want to make that motion again?
I make a motion to send it to the police department to do further investigation on this.
Motion has been made to send the letter to the police department to verify the need for two handicap parking, properly seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes.
Discussion.
Further discussion on this matter, Councilor Levy.
Well, it's not a discussion. What I'm saying is, the police or whoever that is gonna go over there is gonna be knocking on the door of both houses to find out if the person is or not in need of the handicap space. Because the police can go and pass by and say, okay, yes, we have the two handicap parking. But the thing is that they need to go and knock the door or speak with whoever in the 53, 55, and whoever is asking for the request, if needed or not. It's not just only to go and pass by.
Well, I'll tell you this much about this item through you, Council President. There was a lot of back and forth when there were the two signs requests. A lot. So going back again to recap on that conversation and probably ask investigate whether or not we're gonna need two handicap spots. If we no longer need it, we no longer need it. I just don't wanna remove it and then a week, 2 weeks from now, and then we have another complaint that we look like a, you know.
Councilor Rodriguez, did you hear what I'm saying?
I did.
Okay. What I said is, it's not just only, exactly, it's not just only to go and pass by. Whoever that go over there need to stop by the houses and knock the door or bring a letter or something just to come back in here before, see, we're gonna resend it or to discuss it in here maybe, and let it know to us that yes, we need either the one for the 53 or which one is the one that we are asking to remove. We are trying to remove the sign on 55 Bradford Street. Whoever that live on the house, maybe we should send a letter to come by to the city council or to come to the city council and let it know if, yes, we need or we do not need the handicap sign over there.
Through you, Council President.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Every time that we sent the police department, Cano, to do an investigation whether or not we need the sign, he speak with the people. That's a common thing that he does. He speak with the person that is in need of the signs. He evaluate the situation in terms of driveways. He does what he does very well, and that's exactly what he's gonna do now. He's gonna be checking whether or not this is like a new handicap parking, perhaps. Do we need it there? If we not need it there, he's gonna speak with people. There is two people there that have handicap placard before, and what is explained in the letter, I understand that, and it's in my district, so I'm more concerned than any other councilor on this. But I just don't want to come back and say later on, a month from now, you guys just remove my sign or a sign that I was using, and then we go back to nothing, and that's going to be another issue. So, Officer Cano, getting that information that we need. He has done it before. He talked to the people, and he's going to knock on those doors. He have before on those two specific handicap lockers, handicap spots.
So I'm gonna make a motion to table and send Officer Cano. Or
Already a motion.
send the police officer.
There's already correspondence right now on the floor that's before us, to send correspondence to Officer Cano
Okay.
to investigate or look into this matter more fully. Let's just take a vote on that right now, and then we can go to the second one. All in favor of sending the letter to Officer Cano to the police department, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. And now we'll look, now the current motion right now is to approve, but that's for discussion purpose, I know. Is there any other motions? I heard perhaps a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Motion to table has been made by Councilor Rodriguez. I heard a second from Councilor Del Rosario. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right. I think we're done with ordinance committee. Old business, can we go to old business? This is document 21014. This is actually my proposal that became an ordinance. I have no idea why it was sticking around. This is the one that provides the city council the authority to go ahead and to do and get permanent department heads if the mayor takes too long, over 6 months. So I'm looking for, this should not even be on here. So is there a motion to withdraw document 21014?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Any table matters? Seeing no table matters, we go to new business. New business document 29923, review ordinance 5.24.020, grant of authority of license or similar permits. I could withdraw number 299. Is there a motion to withdraw document 29923? Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilor, I'm going to go with Councilor Rodriguez, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 29923 is withdrawn. Document 323, authorization to expend grant fund $10,000, sobriety checkpoint and saturations initiatives with the Mass State Police, Budget and Finance. 30123, authorization to expend grant funds $40,000, Edward J. Burns Safer Community Initiatives for Mass State Police, Budget and Finance. 30223, authorization to expend grant funds $700,000, FY24 SSYI grant going to the Budget and Finance. Document 30323, SEIU Local 888, Carpenters and Trades Union, approve incremental cost items and funding of collective bargaining agreement with $62,500 appropriation is going to the Budget Committee. 30423, SEIU Local 888, Supervisors and Administrations Union, approve incremental cost items and funding of collective bargaining agreement with $252,800 appropriation is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 30523, SEIU Local 3 Laborers Union, approve incremental cost items and funding approval with $142,000 appropriation. That's going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 30623, authorization to expend grant funds $300,000 FY24 local health support for Mass DPH is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 30723, resident parking, Shovel Court, put on by Councilor Rodriguez, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Councilor 30823, 50-minute parking, Oak Street and Jackson Street. Councilor Anna Levy is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 30923, handicap parking, Farnham Street, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Do we have an address for that, by the way? 30923? Is there an address? I don't know how we can actually send this to a committee if we don't have an address. I mean, it's in my district. It's Farnham Street, probably my district. We kind of split it with District E a little bit, but I have no idea where on Farnham Street it is. And it's hard for us to give a handicap parking if we don't know where it is. That's not going to be on the agenda this evening because it's non-conforming. I just don't know where it's going. Document 31025, handicap parking, 7 Campo Seco Street is going to the Ordinance Committee. 31123, handicap parking, 356 South Union Street is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 31223, resident parking, Reservoir Terrace, put on by Councilor Del Rosario, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 31323, handicap parking, 29 Springfield Street, is put on by me, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 31423, dedication of corner of Broadway and Green Street to Nick Rivera Caminero, put on by Councilors Rodriguez and Infante and Merida Pena. Councilors, there is no supporting documentation on this.
That's coming.
I get that. We're going to send that to the ordinance committee. Just be mindful. We oftentimes chastise departments for not being complete. So just. Is it a secret reason? Okay.
We had to put this on the agenda, but we had a follow-up meeting with Mayor DePena this morning. Now that we have additional information, the clerk will have the paperwork tomorrow.
It's going to the ordinance committee. Document 31523, disclosure of municipal employee assisting on election day. That's, how do you pronounce her last name? Lisa Modugno. That is going to the ordinance committee. 31623, disclosure of municipal employee assisting on election day. These are all primary and generals. Adelie Gonzalez, that's going to the ordinance committee. Document 31723, disclosure of municipal employee assisting on both election days. Lisa Coco is going to the ordinance committee. Document 31823, request consideration of a resolution regarding auto insurance premiums is going to the ordinance committee. And 31923, a community health fair, Campanion Common, on September 13th, 2023, from 10:30 to 2 p.m., is going to the ordinance committee. Before we wish Councilor Russell a happy birthday, I just want to know what exactly are we having for ordinance meetings next Tuesday? We have an extra week this month, so you may have some more flexibility. Tuesday. Personnel?
So we do have a meeting this Thursday,
Oh, that's right.
but I'll schedule a second one just in case. Yeah, so next Tuesday, same time, our normal time, 6:30.
6:30 and then 7, and budget committee.
Can I do 6 o'clock?
It's up to you, you're the chair.
6 o'clock.
All right, 6 and then 7.
I'm missing something. Tuesday, the meeting is at what day?
So Tuesday you have a 6 o'clock meeting with personnel. Tuesday you have a 7 o'clock meeting with ordinance. Budget and finance. Monday the 28th at 7 p.m., budget and finance. 6 is housing, budget is at 7. And are there any other committees did I miss anything?
You're saying the 28th?
28th, there's 2 meetings, right? Housing first, then budget.
At 6.
6 and 7, right? 6 and 7? Right. Anything else? Am I missing anything? I don't think so. All right. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Made by Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.